The Crithian armada descended upon Earth's outer colonies like locusts upon wheat fields. They came with fire and certainty, convinced that humanity was just another primitive species ripe for conquest. They had studied human transmissions, analyzed their military capabilities, and calculated the odds. The mathematics favored annihilation. They were wrong. Commander Jasmine Chen stood on the bridge of the UHSN Requiem, her dark eyes reflecting the cold luminescence of tactical displays. Around her, the silence was absolute. No battle cries, no inspirational speeches, no dramatic declarations. The crew moved with mechanical precision, their faces carved from stone. Status? Jasmine's voice was barely above a whisper. All Ghost protocols active, Commander. Lieutenant Harry Morrison reported from his station. His fingers danced across holographic controls, each movement deliberate. The Crithians think we're retreating. They think we're afraid. Jasmine's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Good. Let them think that. The Crithians had made their first mistake when they broadcast their intentions across every human frequency. They wanted humanity to know fear. They wanted panic, chaos, the sweet taste of psychological warfare before the physical annihilation began. Instead, they got silence. Humanity didn't argue, didn't negotiate, didn't plead for mercy or time or understanding. The response was a simple withdrawal, ships pulling back from contested zones, colonies seemingly abandoned in haste. To the Crithians, it looked like cowardice. It was calculation. They're taking the bait, Harry announced, his voice devoid of emotion. Crithian forward elements are pushing into the Neptune sector. They're spreading out exactly as predicted. Jasmine nodded. Humanity had learned something during its centuries of internal conflict, something that gave them an edge the Crithians couldn't comprehend. Humans understood that war wasn't about honor or glory. It wasn't about fair fights or matched strength. War was about winning, by any means necessary. Activate Protocol Whisper, Jasmine commanded. Throughout the solar system, invisible changes rippled through space. Quantum mines, seeded months ago in anticipation of this exact scenario, began their silent work. They didn't explode. They didn't announce their presence. They simply erased matter at the quantum level, creating microscopic tears in the fabric of space-time itself. The Crithian ships began to disintegrate. Not dramatically. Not in brilliant explosions that would warn others. They simply stopped existing, one molecule at a time. Crews vanishing into quantum foam before they could even register what was happening. Enemy fleet is down to 73% combat effectiveness, Harry reported. They still haven't identified the source of losses. They're attributing it to navigational errors and equipment failure. Increase the rate, Jasmine said. I want them terrified before they understand. This was humanity's true weapon. Patience wrapped in ruthlessness. While other species waged war with passion and pride, humans had perfected the art of cold, methodical destruction. They had learned from every predator on Earth, from the spider that waded in its web to the crocodile that lurked beneath still waters. The Crithian High Command finally realized something was wrong when 30% of their invasion force had simply vanished. They sent encrypted transmissions, demanding explanations, calling for tactical assessments. The responses that came back were filled with confusion and growing dread. Begin Phase 2, Jasmine ordered. The human fleet materialized from the darkness, not with weapons blazing, but with something far more terrifying. Each ship transmitted a single image to the Crithian vessels, a complete schematic of Crithian biology, down to the molecular level, with every weakness highlighted, every vulnerability cataloged beneath it. A simple message in Crithian script. We know. Harry watched the enemy communication channels light up with panic. They're trying to retreat, Commander. Formation is breaking. Let them run, Jasmine said. Harry, deploy the Watchers. Throughout the fleeing Crithian fleet, nanoscale machines attached themselves to hull plating, power cores, life support systems. They didn't sabotage immediately. They simply watched, recorded, transmitted. Every ship became a beacon, broadcasting its location back to human forces. The Crithians would return home carrying their own destruction. Should we pursue? Harry asked, though he already knew the answer. No. We wait. That was the lesson the Crithians failed to understand. Humanity didn't fight wars for revenge or territory or resources. When humans fought, they fought for permanent solutions. The Watchers would follow the Crithians home. They would learn the location of their homeworld, map their infrastructure, identify their centers of government and military power, and then, in a single coordinated strike that would come without warning, without declaration, without mercy, humanity would demonstrate what extinction looked like. Weeks later, Jasmine stood before the Unified Human Defense Council. The assembled leaders waited for her report. The Crithian homeworld has been sterilized, she stated flatly. Population reduced to 0. Infrastructure rendered inoperable. The planet will remain uninhabitable for the next 10,000 years due to quantum degradation. No survivors. No witnesses. The Crithian Empire no longer exists. One counselor, newer than the others, spoke up. Shouldn't we have offered them a chance to surrender? Jasmine turned to face him, her expression unreadable. They came to our colonies. They killed our civilians. They broadcast their intentions to wipe us out. They wanted war. She paused. We gave them exactly what they asked for. We gave them extinction, Harry added from his position beside her. The galaxy will learn what happened here eventually. They'll find the dead worlds, the silent systems. They'll study the remnants and try to understand what happened. And what will they learn? The counselor asked. Jasmine's voice was ice. They'll learn that humanity doesn't make war the way other species do. We don't seek glory or honor. We don't fight fair. When you threaten us, when you come for our families and homes, we don't just defeat you. Her eyes swept across the council. We erase you from existence so completely that future civilizations will need to debate whether you ever existed at all. The room fell silent. They wanted war, Harry said quietly. Humanity gave them extinction wrapped in silence. And across the galaxy, in the cold vacuum between stars, species that had once considered humanity as potential prey reconsidered. The silence from the Crithian sector spoke louder than any threat. Humanity had shown the universe that sometimes the most terrifying predator is the one that doesn't roar. It's the one that simply waits, watches and strikes when you've already forgotten to be afraid. The end.